Nottingham Trent University, working with you. Proud sponsors of Working Week.
Welcome to Working Week, and we are outside the university. How stunning is this? This is the boating lake. Not bad, is it?
Not bad, and this is about as close as you and I will ever get to a university. I don't think we'll get through those gates, will we, if we're absolutely honest. But we've covered a lot on this programme about how students are actually having a huge impact, Des, on Nottingham. And today we'll be looking at how Nottingham students, hundreds of them, are helping businesses from all over the country to solve some of their biggest problems.
Looking at websites and stuff like that, you can pick out strategic directions in which a company can take, that all companies can take really, in terms of cost marketing, diversification, leadership.
And we'll be looking at improving the rail links from Nottingham to London.
But it isn't cheap, Des. New bill, £1.3 billion.
People say when they come to Nottingham, you know, you're on these slow, older diesel trains, and we'd like to have new electric stock and also faster.
Now, Nottingham's blessed with a couple of universities. This one in particular, I know students have come here and say that it is numero uno in the city centre.
It is fantastic. What a great backdrop as well. But we're going to talk, Des, about, whisper it quietly, Nottingham Trent University. So rivals to this place, but they have a huge scheme to help businesses from around the country. Here's Jane Dodge.
Welcome to the Thinkubator Challenge at Nottingham Trent University.
Hi.
Professor Babak Ghazani, you've started the challenge. What's it all about?
Well, the business school here in Nottingham Trent is one of the most connected business schools in the country to the business world. We have a philosophy of theory, practice, experience and observe, reflect and perfect.
You've just sounded the gong. What happens next?
Well, each student has a card. They know which Thinkubator they are belonging to. They'll be going upstairs to that group.
So they've got a problem to solve.
There is a problem that's been submitted, and the businesses, some of the businesses are there. They may introduce the problem to them. And by the end of tonight, all these problems will have been solutions completely written up, quality controlled, and sent back by 9 o'clock to the businesses.
Well, this is when the hard work actually starts. We've got clusters of students in each room here working on a specific problem to find a specific solution for a specific business, and they're all doing it against the clock.
We've got 3 challenges that we brought to the student community, and this is about using students to be able to gather ideas. So we'll throw the challenges out to the student community and with a view to looking at them coming up with some ideas for how they would solve them.
So in one way you're using the students as a focus group, but are you also potentially looking for future employees?
Oh, absolutely, because the insurance industry is really keen to attract smart graduates and smart individuals. The problem that as an industry we have is that most people don't go through school or college or university thinking they would love to work for the insurance industry, but that's generally because of a perception they have about our industry and how we work and what we do. But actually, it's a fascinating industry.
The students in this room have been given a rather unusual challenge. They've been asked to come up with a marketing strategy on a small budget for funeral directors in Nottingham. What in particular do you want to glean from these business students?
Well, we're working with them today to hopefully get a way of promoting our business in a sensitive way, which will hopefully provide our services to the whole of Nottinghamshire.
It's very good to have a real life application and really put it into practice in terms of like how you can apply it to an actual business. You can have all the scenarios in the world. When you get thrown in the deep end, you never know what you're going to have in terms of financials and things like that. So it's very important to just have a kind of real life situation you can look at.
How is it helping you then in your studies?
Probably improve my working with teams. I think in the future, more or less, everyone will have to work with a team or with someone. So improve my, communication, presentation skills, perhaps.
How optimistic are you about getting a job once you finish your studies?
I think getting a job would be easy for me, but more helpful now I've got some more experience like this challenge.
thing is, this backdrop's so gorgeous, I just don't want to leave.
I think we're milking this a little bit, aren't we? Yeah. But, you know, why would you ever leave Nottingham, eh? But if you did and you were going down perhaps to London, you might know that the Midland Main Line is being electrified all the way down to St Pancras. But as I've been finding out, well, the costs, Des... Are you paying attention, Des? Yeah, the costs, Des, are soaring. You may just have noticed, but there's been a lot of work going on around Nottingham when it comes to transport. From trams to roads to HS2, the city's infrastructure is slowly being upgraded. But there's one other major project, electrifying the Midland Main Line to London. It's a huge scheme that'll see trains able to carry an extra 10,000 passengers a day and cut journey times by between 5 and 10 minutes. No one's exactly sure yet. Which all sounds pretty good, but there's a problem. The costs are soaring. Network Rail at first said it would cost £500 million to electrify the line, but its latest reckoning is it'll cost £1.3 billion. So how will it pay for it? Network Rail says it's confident it can raise the cash, and the work has been approved by the government. You might expect the opposition to be furious, and as it happens, Labour's rail spokesperson is a Nottingham MP, Lillian Greenwood, but she says she can understand the rising costs.
I'm not surprised, because I know the way that the rail industry works. They were given these projects, but they hadn't had time to properly work out the scope of them and therefore to cost them up. So, for example, there currently are electric lines between St Pancras and Bedford, and they hadn't included anything to upgrade those, but clearly they've decided that now would be necessary. So that's why the costs have gone up. The government have put things in at the last minute and not had chance to do the numbers.
And despite the higher price tag, train experts still think it's a good deal.
I think it's still a good value for money project overall. Obviously, we'd be very worried if the costs for the same amount of work kept actually growing. But this is an engineering project, and as it goes on, it's going to evolve into newer and more exciting options.
So everyone agrees it's good value, but electrification is still a long way off. It's not due to reach Nottingham until 2019, so is it worth the wait?
It will certainly benefit Nottingham. There will be slightly quicker journey times. There's the opportunity to have more train services operating, and there's the opportunity also for those train services to be more reliable than what they currently are. There's now a lot of money being put into the Great Western Line out towards Bristol and Cardiff, so it's only fair that the East Midlands gets its fair slice of the cake.
In fact, it's seen as such an important project, MPs from all parties in the city say they're determined to see it through.
Potentially, we'll have faster journey times down to London, and of course for persuading businesses to move out of London, to relocate to Nottingham, to give us the jobs and growth that we need, that's really, really important. People want good transport connections and, you know, cleaner, more modern electric railways can give us that.
It's another project to add to the huge work that's been going on improving Nottingham's infrastructure. The next challenge for Network Rail will be in raising more than £1 billion to make sure it's done on time. And there's another interesting quirk to this. Back in September last year, Network Rail was formally reclassified. It's now officially a government-owned body. So what you might think, well, what that means is any of its borrowings now appear on official accounts. And therefore, this increase in costs has just added £650 million to the nation's debt pile. Right, well, the cameraman's made us stand here. I'm not too sure about this shot, you, Des?
Don't tell us, you're a bit of a tree hugger, aren't you, mate?
Oh, look at that tree. I'm just worried about where I put my feet, what I might stand on around here. But let's get back to the business stories. And in Nottingham, we've done a lot of stories about companies that use telemarketing, use data. Yeah. Well, one company, you totally agree, don't you? One company we've been to see combines both, and it's growing pretty quickly.
Redbox Recorders in Nottingham. 15 years ago, it was just a start-up with 2 employees. Now, it's got offices in London, New York, Hong Kong and Singapore, and more than 100 staff.
We have got a global customer base, so we have got customers in South America, New York, North America, Canada, Europe, United Kingdom, North and Southeast Asia, Australia. We have almost got customers in every country in the world.
It provides what it calls media recording solutions. To the rest of us, That means recording phone calls, texts, or computer use. It's proving to be rather popular in a post-recession world.
Since the crash of a few years ago, compliance is a big topic, not only for call centres, but more importantly, the financial services sector. For example, a trader might be trading 100,000 stock. The client phones up and says, no, I asked you to sell 10,000 stock. What our solution does is make sure that that financial trader is compliant. Now, if I look at the 999 market, we record all of the telephones coming in. Also, we record the police radios. And what we can do is, in a court of law, we can combine all that data together so that there's a case against or for.
The staff say the secret is believing in what you're selling.
When you feel that you work here, you actually know that you're working for a good company and that we're selling a good product. Also, like I said, the environment's really, really great. Everyone's so friendly. It doesn't feel, even though the company's grown so much, it doesn't feel like that kind of environment. It feels, still quite like a small, friendly business environment, even though we know we're growing.
Most of the time we're working with our major technology hubs in New York, Singapore, Hong Kong, and here in the UK.
And how many trips do you get to go to these offices?
Rarely. They try and send me out, but there's always good, competent people there already, so they don't need me.
And with all this expansion comes a plea to the people of Nottingham.
We're expanding, and what we're trying to do is expand in Nottingham. This is our headquarters. This is where the technology centre is. This is the technology heart, the hub. And so the good thing for the area, the local area, is we're trying to grow our staffing 50%. So if anyone knows something, anyone a technical developer, QA engineer, we're always looking.
Well, that's it, Rob. So we can see you in a short while.
Yeah, don't go away.
Nottingham Trent University, proud sponsors of Working Week. Nottingham Trent University, proud sponsors of Working Week.
I reckon mine will win, mate.
Yep. Oh, yeah, you started off 2 yards in advance. What a cheat.
I never lose though, Rob, I'll tell you.
Welcome back. We're enjoying our walk around Nottingham University's rowing lake and then indulging in a game of poo sticks. Not exactly flying through here,
No,
are they?
not quite, mate, not quite.
No, well, while we wait for these to come through, let's take a look at our next story, which is all about a company which is turning coffee making into an art.
The roaster will be there at the machine, roasting it, smelling it, listening to it, just to really follow the process of the roast. So we know it's going to be perfect every time.
And a subject very close to your heart, Des.
Certainly is, restoring an Art Deco cinema right here in Hull.
What do you mean here in Hucknall? We're in Beastly, man.
No, but different. In the near vicinity.
The 10, 12, 13-year-olds are quite surprised if mums and dads say, there used to be a cinema here. Really? They've never known it. The cinema has been closed that long. It's a crying shame.
If you're not a coffee aficionado, this is what it looks like before it's been made into the drinkable stuff. It's green, not brown, with no taste and no smell. To make it the beverage we increasingly can't do without, it has to be roasted. That's when the magic happens.
This is where I put the blend into the hopper, ready to go into the roaster. The roaster is now at 200 degrees. So this is
200 degrees has been roasting coffee at its headquarters opposite the Notts County football ground for more than a year. The company now supplies 25 outlets in Nottinghamshire and beyond. Tim Moss's love affair with coffee started years ago. He used to spend his spare time blending beans in a converted popcorn machine in his garage.
I've come from a hospitality background and I've always loved coffee. I had this hobby in my garage of I had a converted popcorn maker that I used to roast coffee beans in, just tiny little batches, getting the green beans from various websites and seeing what worked together, what didn't work well together. I had lots of good coffees, lots of really bad coffees. I tried them out on friends and family and just got to know how the beans work together.
Tom Vincent and another businessman, Rob Darby, came up with the capital for the coffee roastery. It's not their first venture in the hospitality industry. They already own a string of cafes in Nottinghamshire.
We've been selling coffee now to our customers in the cafe and restaurant industry for about 20 years. We've seen the growth, especially over the last 5 or 10 years, how specialist coffee has become. And therefore, moving on to owning our own coffee roastery is actually quite a natural progression. It's an expensive business to get into. There's a lot of kit around, there's the warehouse, there's the employees to take on. But we had the advantage that we were already buying a lot of coffee for our own cafes, and so we could actually alleviate the risk slightly by knowing that we'd already got some quite good sales from day one.
We find that people who are enthusiasts, as well as people who just really like their coffee, will pay a touch more for the higher quality of the coffee which we're producing. And in compared to your supermarket style coffee, it's just no comparison on the amount of flavour that you get to it.
It opened at the end of October, employs 15 staff, and is proving popular with the punters. How was it for you?
Delicious. I must admit, when I first saw it, because I don't like really, really strong coffee, I thought maybe it was going to be too strong, but it was perfect.
Absolutely amazing. I love my cappuccinos, and I like my dry cappuccino, and the taste of it is absolutely delicious.
Describe that taste. What makes it so good?
It's not bitter. I find a lot of chain shops are very, very bitter. As Scarlett said, they're very watered down as well, but this was smooth and it had such depth to it, and it was absolutely lovely. It really was.
Good quality coffee. It tastes divine. The service in here is amazing. The atmosphere is great. Can't fault it.
This is the only cafe in Nottingham that roasts its own coffee. It's also the only cafe in Nottingham that actually has its own barista school. You can come here and learn how to make the perfect cup of coffee in the comfort of your own home.
We had a course on Saturday, that was our first course. We had 2 young girls that came and an older gentleman. Anyone with any sort of interest in coffee, we're quite happy to give them that extra bit of knowledge and train them.
Courses cater for individuals who are passionate about their coffee, as well as those working in the business. In theory, the competition is fierce, what with the likes of Costa and Starbucks, to name just 2. But 200 Degrees says it offers something quite different, a high-end product that's produced and sold in Nottingham.
I can sense that New Year's resolutions are being formatted in the minds and the hearts of the folk of Nottinghamshire. But what are your New Year's resolutions when it comes to finance and business? I'm here to find out. I've got a surprise for you. This is a trainee Santa Claus. Mate, I love your beard.
Cheers, mate.
Yeah, are you Swedish?
Half.
Half Swedish?
Yes. Yeah.
Hence the beard.
Love IKEA.
Now, it's Danny, isn't it?
Yeah.
Danny, when it comes to resolutions, New Year's resolution, I can't talk. Have you got anything around working life, business, finances?
Moving to Nottingham. Yeah, and work. Probably work harder.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So do you want to save a bit more money? Do you want to change jobs?
Probably save more money and work more hours and be more grown up.
So what you're saying is you're a bit of a grafter?
Yeah, I am a grafter, yeah.
So what are your New Year's resolutions when it comes to finances?
Get a bit more dosh in my pocket.
How are you going to do that?
I'll have to work harder. There's no other way of doing it, is there? No one's going to knock on my door and give me any money.
Try and spend more time with family, I think. That would be my resolution, definitely.
When it comes to finances, do you hope that you can earn a little bit more money for next year, or are you just happy with the way things are?
I'm just happy as the way things are. I'm alive.
Yeah.
That's all that matters to me. I'm breathing.
Now, I've just bumped into Mari. Now, I've got to ask Mari, when it comes to New Year's resolutions, when it comes to, I don't know, working life, finances, business, that sort of stuff, have you got any?
No finances.
You just want to work harder? There's a bit of mistletoe up there, Mari. Oh, she's gone, she's off. I'm going to chase her.
Let's take a look now at a bunch of people restoring an Art Deco cinema. It's the Byron Cinema in Hucknall.
Is that Lord Byron?
Well, yeah, local lad. He's from Hucknall, Byron. I presume it is.
It's well known and well loved in Hucknall, but it's a long time since any films were shown at the Byron Cinema. These days, the seats are empty and the projector is silent. The only entertainment is the bingo on the ground floor. When the Art Deco building opened back in 1936, it was the latest in modern entertainment, equal to the finest in the world, according to newspaper reports at the time.
The Byron was designed by a local and quite eminent architect, Alfred Thraves, and it was the luxury cinema of its time. Sound had just come in, and so people who wanted to see People like Shirley Temple, and hear them as well, could come to the Byron. It was the ultimate in luxury.
These days, your feet stick to the floor and it's not popcorn you smell, but damp. In fact, before it closed, the cinema became known as the Flea Pit. There's even talk of a resident ghost, but a group of volunteers are working hard to resurrect the Byron. They're currently using the stage to prepare for the forthcoming Christmas parade, but they've far more ambitious plans for the future.
The Byron Cinema is, we say, the jewel in the gateway to Hucknall, but it's closed, and apart from the bingo, we'd like to see the whole centre open so that we have theatre, we have live music, we have televised events. There's something for every member of the population, not only in Hucknall, but in the area around. The big money, we feel, needs to come from the Heritage Lottery Fund. We've made contact with them, and bearing in mind their emphasis is on the word heritage, they're very excited. This cinema has an opportunity of being renovated and reborn.
In the summer, volunteers transferred 400 seats from a cinema in Stockport to the Byron. It was another step towards the rebirth of the cinema as an arts and events centre.
This place had really fond memories. It was really comfy, it was really dirty and dark, but the ice cream lady was really friendly. We always used to get a box of fruit pastels, and it was that walk up those stairs that was the start of our cinema adventure. It was just an amazing place to be.
Later this month, the cinema will be open to the public again as part of a contemporary art exhibition. Films will be shown on the screen as part of the event. It's just a taste of what could become a permanent feature of life in Hucknall if funds can be found to give the Byron a new lease of life.
The projectionist wants his job back. The ice cream lady would love her job back. People can't wait for the cinema to be open again and to be able to come and sit and have a glass of wine and watch a film in what they know to be their cinema.
£190,000 is a big ask. Local people are very keen indeed. They're supporting us to the extent that it's possible. They reach into their pockets for £5 here or there, and they have sponsored some 300 of the 400 seats that we've managed to acquire for the cinema at £25 a time. So Hucknall people are certainly being generous, but £190,000 is a big ask to make of any community.
So where are you going to get it from?
We're approaching larger organisations, primarily public authorities, and we are in discussion with a number of different groups to say, look, Hucknall's time is coming. We've got an inner relief road which is due to be started in 2015. There'll be a part pedestrianisation of the High Street coming shortly after that. We want it to be welcoming, we want it to be part of the new Hucknall vibrant centre, and we think the time is right.
The last time this projector was in use was back in 2008. The film that was screened was The Omen. Those now trying to save this building are hoping the fact that this projector is still here will be a good omen for the future.
Well, that's it. Been a great programme.
It's been cold though, hasn't it?
Yeah, I know, but what a beautiful day to be walking around the university.
And great shots.
So, if you've got any ideas for where we should be next when we do the introductions to our pieces, get in touch at news@workingweektv.com.
We'll even come to your house.
Yeah. You what? Your house. That's that Nottingham accent of yours. We'll come to your house just to be absolutely clear about that. Let's go.
Nottingham Trent University, working with you. Proud sponsors of Working Week.